Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 77. How you guys doing today? We got a power up in the chat for our live show. Andres Restart is officially a moderator as he's leading out of frame. How you guys doing? We got hopefully a good show for you guys today. We only have a couple topics because it is a holiday this week here in the United States. But before we get to that, because we will be talking about the things we're most thankful for from gaming and Nintendo and whatever this year, it's been kind of a big year for Nintendo. I got to introduce our guests. So, technically, I don't know that Mike counts as a guest anymore, but Mike Odyssey is here all the way to my right. How you doing, buddy?
Way, this way, or that way?
Well, I mean, I'm on the left. You're on the right. I don't know. You look
Okay, so
wherever
is
you
this-
want.
What's up?
Not much. Wait. No, you're over here. Not much, buddy. Yeah, I this direction thing doesn't work. Dead center. We do have a guest, however, Mr. Andres Restart. How's it going?
Thanks, man. I'm glad you guys had me on tonight. I'm excited to be here. I'm not sure where my face is supposed to be.
I kind of centered it
Hang
before,
off
where
frame.
based on where you were sitting before, but then like people move, so I don't know. Do the best you can.
That's fine.
All right. And I'm obviously your host, everyone, Nathaniel Rumblejans, Nintendo Prime guy over here. So, yeah, we have a show for you today. We'll be talking about, obviously, what we're thankful for. We'll also be going over the Golden Joystick Awards, winners, losers, any thoughts on, I guess, awards in general. These were topics picked out by Mike, so I'm assuming he's got some stuff to say. And if he doesn't, well, then that was some pretty bad topics. That being said, we start off every show by talking about what have we been playing lately, and I'm just gonna go right to our guest, Andres Restart, the newly full-time YouTuber, temporarily, maybe forever. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If you guys don't know what happened, you can go check out his Twitter.
Positivity. It's gonna happen. Full time.
Positivity. Yes, he's gonna become full-time.
Yeah.
What have you been playing lately, bud?
So, Smash Brothers and Pokemon. That's pretty much been it for me.
Nice.
Pokemon came out on Friday, and despite the frame rate drops, despite the glitches, I'm one of the happy 10 million people who bought the game in the first 3 days of its release, and having a really good time with it. Actually, it took a little bit to get used to the technical issues, but it's still a really good game once you get past that. So I've been playing that, and when I'm not playing that, I'm playing Smash Brothers with my brother, or I'm trying to get him to be better at it because he's not good at it right now. And that's kind of been what I've been playing lately.
Yeah, I hear you. I've definitely been playing Pokemon. I've been playing Pokemon Scarlet. Yeah, the tech issues are pretty bad. If you guys saw the Digital Foundry video, you'll know it's not just the frame rate and the graphical glitches. There's a lot with this game that we don't like saying lazy development, but more like they're not given enough time to do better. And that kind of sucks because the content is good.
Mm-hmm.
The stories are good. The branching paths are good. But there's so much weird things happening in this game. Some of the stuff that doesn't happen in Legends Arceus, by the way. And it's really weird watching side-by-sides of Arceus and Scarlet and Violet and seeing that it looks like Arceus got more care put into it than these games. That's really weird. Give you one example Digital Foundry noted, and I didn't know it. I didn't realize it. Because of the draw distance or whatever it is that spawns in Pokemon or whatever, you can despawn Pokemon by walking like 3 feet away from them. And they're gone. You see a shiny, but you went a little too far with your mount, you go back, the shiny's gone. Because it's not actually there. It doesn't actually exist in the world. It just despawns. And there's like a lot of really weird quirks with the game like that show that like this stuff didn't happen in Arceus. This wasn't a problem in Legends Arceus. So
Yeah, it's
weird.
It is weird. Like I think it's obvious they tried to make two really big 3D Pokemon games in 1 year, and this is the result, right? Like Legends Arceus was already arguably one of the best Pokemon games we had seen, right? And love it. I think it's an instant classic. It does have its issues, right? But like I think most people were willing to overlook those issues because the game was just so fun.
It was ambitious
Now
too.
Scarlet and Violet.
So yeah,
What?
and it was really ambitious
Right, exactly. It
for
was
them,
very
anyways.
ambitious
For
for
them,
Pokemon
yeah.
standards. And then Scarlet and Violet is even more ambitious, which is exciting. And I think that's why people are buying into this because it's, on paper, open world Pokemon game. Play as you choose, do things how you choose. Like that is awesome. And like when we first heard about it, they were like, oh, this is probably gonna be the best selling Pokemon game ever. And they're off to that kind of start. And I think they did a really good job in terms of the gameplay, but I guess the problem is, they were rushed to the table. And the problem with that is that Pokemon Company, they impose this on Game Freak because, well, everything is based off of the video game, right? The anime, the trading cards, the merchandising, the movies, all of it. So if the video games are delayed, basically they can't delay the video game because of everything else. And that's what makes it tricky because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys agreed, but a lot of people before Scarlet and Violet were announced, a lot of people were thinking that we were finally going to see them kind of push the generation a little bit and not do a 3-year and do like a 3.5-year or something like that, like maybe like a March release. Had they had that extra like 4 months of development time, we probably wouldn't be seeing as many glitches. But no, they have to stick to the schedule. They have to match up to the end of the anime. They have to get the trading cards ready. They have to get all of that ready. So the games come out in November. Doesn't matter what's going on with the game. Make it happen. They made it happen, but the result is frame rate issues, random glitches that everyone's going to see some level of. I haven't seen anything game breaking. I haven't seen anything frustrating like losing a shiny. But like, for example, I did a battle and I noticed that my starter's textures were different. Like it's like it looked like it was dirty. I was like, oh, that's cool. Pokemon can get dirty in this game. Except no, it didn't actually get dirty. It was just, I don't know, another Pokemon's textures like fused with it a little bit.
Yep.
And I had to like leave the area for it to return back to normal. And then beyond that, for me personally, just like sometimes when I catch a Pokemon, it's low to the ground, it'll like clip, and I see like under the world, right? And you just see like nothing under it.
Absolutely.
And then the game just chugs sometimes, and the graphics are sometimes are actually really pretty, but then other times they're like, oh, okay, this looks bad, or basic, but still the game's really fun, and that's kind of what's most important. Gameplay's still there.
Yeah, I mean, the games are fun. I've been saying that. I've been getting a lot of flack for saying that. People are like, oh, you're just being a shill. I'm like, oh, no. There's no excuse for the performance. Like, set aside the texture choices and everything else. The way the game performs, there's no excuse. Somebody needed to stop this game from coming out and give it time. And I know the Pokemon Company doesn't like doing that. But also, one thing someone pointed out, because like a huge people say, the animated series is one reason why it has to come out. Nobody knows when the animated series for this even begins. So
yeah, well, we assume it happens shortly after they're done with the Pokemon anime. Which
we assume, soon. But we don't know. Yeah. So it's like it also could have been. It's this game is the harsh reminder to me that Game Freak has a lot of really good ideas, and they're listening to feedback, and they're trying to create these amazing epic games. But also a reminder that the Pokemon Company is sort of thinking about the games last. They don't think the games are as important as everything else. Because they have delayed animes before. Writer strikes. Other issues where animators quit. They've delayed the Pokemon anime before. No problem delaying the Pokemon anime when there was problems. No problem when they had a really bad print run of the trading card game. Delaying that. But the games can't be delayed. It's weird. Because you figure you should care about the product. Because the product represents the company. But they just don't. And it kind of sucks. And maybe they were just riding this high off Legends Arceus. We're like, oh, we're doing everything right. This is going to be a banger. And it's like, but you're doing even more in this one.
Thing is, it is a banger. It's just a banger marred by technical problems.
Like, this could be the best Pokemon game ever if it didn't have the tech problems. And that's even like just leaving in the crappy textures they do and weird draw distances and things popping in and out. Even leaving that, fixing the frame rate, fixing the graphical glitches, that alone would already probably elevate this game significantly. It's just, sadly, it's there. I don't know if it'll ever get patched out because I don't know if Game Freak's ever going to be given the time to patch it out. and it sucks because this should be the best Pokemon game ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think we have reason to be optimistic because they're gonna do DLC.
Yeah.
And that DLC forces them to go back to the game. Now, I don't know if they'll create a whole other area or if they'll do the DLC within the area, but if you take a look at how they handle it, it's a treasure hunt that's actually like more that happens more than once in a year. It's according to the lore, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In theory, the DLC could be another treasure hunt, and they simply add in other elements and different things that change around and remix that treasure hunt. So it's like basically, like a new game plus, but perhaps more so. And that in theory could be DLC. So if they were to do something like that, then they would be forced to kind of go back and polish things up a little bit. I do think that there will be some patchwork. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know how much, but
Yeah.
I'm not super pessimistic about it, but I also don't expect it to be perfect either.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are
look at Breath of
pessimistic
the
because
Wild, right?
yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild still has frame rate issues. It's gotten better with patches, but it's still not perfect.
Well, Breath of the Wild was also not an exclusive Switch game. Like it was ported. It was literally had years of development for a completely different platform. So like, and even then when it released, it still wasn't like this. There were some frame rate issues, specifically Kakariko Village and Lost Woods. And yeah, the Lost Woods is still pretty bad in the game. It just even on Wii U, it's just pretty bad. But we weren't like falling through the world. We weren't getting on Epona and having the horse vanish. We weren't, having enemies despawn because we walked 3 feet away from them. Like it's really weird. It's really weird. I mean, but bottom line though is obviously Zelda's different because it's a different team. They're always willing to delay Zelda. Well, it's got a long history of delaying games. Zelda is one that they will delay till Kingdom Come because they want to get it right. And that speaks more towards the different development environments. Like there isn't, a TV series and all this other outside pressure. But even if there was, like let's say Nintendo starts making the Mario movies and the games start to like work together with the Lego sets and they start to have a trading card game around Mario. You think Nintendo's not going to be willing to delay a Mario game if it's got problems? Of course they're going to. Because they care about the quality of the product. They think that's a part of the charm of their games is the quality of what they put out. We can argue on the content sometimes, like Mario Golf Super Rush not having everything or having to wait in Nintendo Switch Sports to add golf in. And we could talk about content issues, but gameplay-wise, they seem to always get it and care. And Pokemon Company is kind of just allowed to do whatever they want. And I kind of wonder, and this isn't going to fix this game, but I wonder if Nintendo, because Nintendo has openly said they pay attention to what people are actually talking about, despite what Reggie said back in the day when they said we don't pay attention. Now they're saying we do. Don't know who was right, but Reggie doesn't work there anymore. So I'll go off the more recent comments from Nintendo's president, Shintaro Furukawa, who said they pay attention. If they're paying attention to this, I wonder if it's gotten to a point because Nintendo owns the Pokemon IP. The actual copyright of Pokemon is owned by Nintendo. And I wonder if next game around, if Nintendo's going to be like, hey, before, what are we, 8 months out from when you guys plan to release? Yeah, we're going to send a couple of our QA testers in, and they're going to let us know what's up with this, because we're not having this happen again.
Yeah.
This affects our reputation, too. There's the thing. I don't think it'll happen, but I also think this is bad. Like, this is unacceptable levels of bad. Like, this is no major AAA game should release in this state. Like, I can't sit there and forgive because the content's great. Okay, the content's great, but the gameplay's like shit.
It's a weird thing because everything else from Nintendo is held to a different standard, right? You would never expect a Mario game or a Zelda game to come out like this.
No.
On the flip side, Pokemon also sells more. And that's kind of the issue here.
Sort of.
I mean, Scarlet and Violet just sold 10 million in 3 days. It is the fastest selling exclusive in the history of all video games. At least for that 3 day sample size, right? We'll see how things pan out over time, but that's incredible. It's already one of the best selling games on Switch in 3 days. It's already cemented itself as one of the best. even if they don't sell another thing after.
But I'm
So
pointing out that besides the Switch effect, which has been happening, like Scarlet Violet sold 20 million plus. Not Scarlet Violet. Well, it probably will sell 20 million plus at this rate. I have no
Sword
idea.
Shield's like
Sword,
something, what, like 25 million,
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
But like Mario sold 30 million in the past, as an example. No problem. Like, yeah, not every Mario game does, right? We could be like, oh well, you know, this game only sold 8 million, or you know, there's obviously a Pokemon doesn't always sell quite like this. Does it usually sell, you know, 10 to 14 million? Usually, but that's between two games. Like there's that 2-game strategy that kind of increases sales a little bit. So I kind of look at it as Nintendo has plenty of games that have outsold Pokemon, and they don't release them in this state. Even if they, and the thing is, even if they, that just kind of makes it worse. Like it doesn't really make the argument better. Oh, Pokemon always sells a lot. Yeah, and when they were making handheld games, they didn't release games in this state. We've never had a Pokemon game released this broken. It's never happened.
Man, and Red and Blue were pretty broken.
What's so broken about Red and Blue? I'm not falling through the world in Red and Blue.
Well, okay. How many people actually fall through the world? Like I feel like that's just one. Have you playing the game yourself? Have you fallen through?
Yes.
Like how common is that issue?
Well,
You actually fallen through.
I have fallen through.
actual
Yes,
gameplay.
I tried to make a jump with my mount up to a ledge, and
You fell
glitched
through the
out,
ground,
fell through the world.
and the game crashed.
The game didn't crash; it respawned me inside the mountain. I had to quit the game to do anything.
Oh well, that hasn't happened to me. But that is pretty bad.
And by the way, it's like it's not. It's only happened once, but I've had numerous times where like the mount disappears, or having characters despawn right in front of me as I'm trying to talk to them, or you're sitting there and I throw my Pokemon out and he just doesn't even appear.
So some of that is just the camera stuff, right? Like there's so many things going on at screen. They might like, sort of make something look invisible for a moment because of you're in a battle or something, right? Like I did a battle once, and I was fighting a ghost type Pokemon on a hill, but it was right next to a trainer when I started this battle. I was fighting a wild Pokemon right next to a trainer that would have battled me had I, actually like talked to them. And then I noticed completely forgot about the trainer during the battle, and I was fighting a ghost type Pokemon, and I see that there's a Pokeball just sort of floating randomly in the area that I'm fighting, and I'm like, is this Ghastly causing a random Pokeball to float in the middle of the fight? And I was like, what is going on?
So I got a question for you, because you were trying to argue that like Gen 1 Red and Blue was as broken or more broken than this.
Well,
how
okay,
broken are those games if Twitch can beat the games by typing commands in a chat? It doesn't seem that broken.
Red and Blue are pretty broken. I can't.
What's broken about them?
Properly compare them.
What's broken?
I would have to go back. I was just saying that.
I got literally a Twitch chat, Twitter. People tweeting on Twitter beat Pokemon Red. Like if it was broken, how are we getting through the game with just chat commands?
Well, Scarlet and Violet also isn't so broken that you can't do that either.
Why are we talking about Scarlet and Violet here? When you said that Red and Blue are as broken as Scarlet and Violet, I don't recall them being broken.
What I was trying to tell you, I feel like what I said was misconstrued. I'm simply saying that Red and Blue are also known for being very glitchy games. They're not perfectly running. There are little issues. There are tons of weird things about those games. Now, I'm not saying that the average person can't play that game and have a relatively normal playthrough. So
I was asking for examples, basically.
I'm simply saying that there's a history with the first Pokemon games not being the most polished, refined masterpieces. They were not, and people I think I've seen have forgotten about that. Now I haven't played them recently, right? I would have to go back and do some research, but this is a known thing. This isn't like this is not just my own opinion. Like just take a look. But
I have taken a look. I beat Pokemon Red and Blue last year and didn't even have a single
better polished than Scarlet and Violet. I don't know, but I'm just saying it is known that they were not very refined games either,
Known by
and yet
who?
they
This
still
is the
were the
first I've
reason why
actually
Pokemon
heard
became so
this, and
successful.
I've been gaming for 35 years, and I've never heard anyone say Red and Blue are buggy messes. I'm just genuinely curious. I've literally never heard this before. Are there glitches in the game? Sure, there's glitches in every game. You can do tons of glitches in Breath of the Wild, but no one would say Breath of the Wild is less polished than Scarlet and Violet.
Well, I mean, if you want me to give you what I think Scarlet and Violet are probably more glitchy than Red and Blue.
I think it's significantly more glitchy than Red and Blue.
There were a lot of glitches. Now, the other thing is that back then, games in general, you probably could find more issues across the board.
Like, I didn't throw a Pokeball and not have my Pokemon show up.
Here at an entire page of just different bugs in the game, and I'm not talking about bug type Pokemon. There's just a lot of issues, and then the battle mechanics weren't appropriately set as they were intended. There's a lot. Here, I'm gonna post it in the
Discord. Okay. Or in the
on the
chat.
Discord. I can post
it's okay. It's okay. You can post in the chat. I'll click from the chat. It's fine.
There's just, like I said, I'm not trying to argue that
because the reason that I say that this is the buggy, this is one of the buggiest AAA games I've ever played. This is more buggy than Cyberpunk 2077. Like, that's how bad this is. It's bad.
Is it?
It's bad. You can play through Cyberpunk 2077 start to finish, just like you can in this game.
I don't know if it's
but my character doesn't disappear while I'm running around. The car doesn't vanish while I'm driving.
My character hasn't. I don't know. I haven't seen these same issues you have. I already explained what my issues are. I see frame rate drops.
Frame rate drops are yes. Everyone's seen that.
If a character may disappear depending on positioning of things, which is intentional, but it's not properly done, so sometimes it looks weird. And I've seen clipping. That's what I've experienced, and it's common. Like, it's not like I'm not trying to argue it's like super rare. It's common. It's not so common that I have to put down the game, but it is. It's there.
I'm going through these list of bugs, and I sort of understand why I haven't experienced them. Like, a lot of these you have to intentionally trigger. Like, there's specific order of events you have to do in a very specific thing, including sometimes resetting your game to get some of this stuff to happen. And other parts of it just are only like when you're using link cable battles, which, I don't think was as big of a thing. Well, especially for, I obviously haven't done a link cable battle probably since I was a kid. But like, a lot of these bugs in Red and Blue are intentionally. These look like the kind of things that are in Breath of the Wild too, like intentional glitches. You can just kind of, do whatever with. But that's just my opinion, of course. Just looking at going through all these bugs.
Anyways, the point I'm trying to make here isn't so much that one is better or worse than the other. The point I'm simply making is that they were not refined games. They were abundant with glitches and issues, and there were things about the mechanics that weren't done the way they were intended. This is all true. And yet, despite all of that, despite the games not being like a technical showpiece for the Game Boy or the Game Boy Color, they still went on to lead Pokemon to becoming one of the biggest franchises of all time. So really all I'm getting at is that, like, you take a look at Scarlet and Violet, abundant with glitches and issues and frame rate drops, and yet somehow 3 days into its lifetime out on the market, it sold over 10 million copies.
Sure. It's Pokemon. And it's open world, and people have been wanting this for 20 years.
Yeah.
The question is it going to have a long tail of sales now that the audience is speaking out?
My opinion, I think so. I think what we see on social media.
And Mike's just sitting back, getting the popcorn ready.
I think it's just a small piece to how many people out there casually are going to buy and play the game, right? I don't think what we're seeing on social media with all the weird glitches and things like that is going to ultimately like cause a significant amount of people to not buy the game. Um,
So you're just
so,
basically saying Pokemon's too big to ever fail.
kind of, yeah.
So they could just release busted games every generation and it's never going to hurt them.
Well,
Because if they keep
okay,
doing this, I
do
kind of think
over
there's a
time,
long-term effect if they just
I
keep
think
releasing games like this.
over time, right, it can impact their reputation. I agree with that. But also, if they continue to release games like Scarlet and Violet, I think some people will just come to expect that and just play the games because they're still fun. Because at the end of the day, Scarlet and Violet are still fun.
Sure, I admit that I'm still having fun, and some of the glitches make me laugh sometimes. To be honest,
I basically I just think that us hardcore gamers that analyze these games, that pay more attention to the little details, we notice these issues and they bother us more than the average fan who doesn't look on social media, who's not on Twitter all day, right? Just goes to Walmart, buys a game because new Pokemon.
My reaction to the game is not based on anybody else. It's based on me playing. I've never played a game this broken, and actually stuck with it for any amount of time. Like it is this.
Right,
I've literally
you're still a core gamer. If is what I'm trying to say, right? You're not. I wouldn't refer to you as like the part of like the mainstream. So you are more critical and more understanding than the average gamer. And Pokemon is just a super mainstream title, and I think when it comes to like frame rate issues and little glitches, the mainstream is less bothered by it than we are. I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm not trying to argue.
I actually think there'd be more bothered. I think there'd be more bothered if a mainstream person falls through the world. They might say "fuck this" and go get a refund.
It's 10 million copies.
Yeah, 10 million copies are the core audience. The long tail of sales is where you get the mainstream. And if you want to argue, well, that's the mainstream. Well, then the mainstream is the core.
Pokemon's just gigantic. So,
like I'm having a good time with the game for when it works, but I am very frustrated when it doesn't. And it's kind of unfortunate that there are moments that it doesn't. It's kind of unfortunate that I have to reboot my game every couple of hours, or the frame rate issues get so bad from a memory leak.
That sucks that you're having those issues, because I have not had to reboot the game once, but maybe I haven't played as much.
Well, yeah. What's your longest play session?
12 hours.
What's your longest play session? It's about how long you play it for.
2 to 3 hours.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you get up to like 4 to 5. The memory leak starts really... I mean, the game chugs in like the single frames. It gets pretty bad. But then you reboot the game, and then then you reboot the game, and it goes away.
I don't close out the game, right? I just press home.
Yeah, I know. That's sleep mode. Yep.
So I don't...
No, it's fine. Everyone's experiences are different. Obviously, you're right. I'm going to be a bit more nitpicky because I play a lot of video games. But me talking to everyone in my space that lives around me are super casual gamers. And if they decide they want to pick up a Pokemon game, or they want to play this game on a phone, or this game on a tablet, you know what makes them stop playing? When something doesn't work right. They're more annoyed and not willing to stick through issues than the people who are used to gaming and used to seeing issues happen. Like, I'm used to frame rate hitches, so having that happen in the Lost Woods didn't bother me. My son, when he got to the Lost Woods, he hasn't played Breath of the Wild since, because he was annoyed the guy wasn't moving the way that he was pushing his control stick because of the lag. Like, it bothers, I think, people who don't game all the time more than it bothers the people that do. The people that do will make memes out of it, have fun with it, laugh about it, and decide if it's still worth playing. But, like, I'm telling you, if my fiance picks up Pokemon and one time falls through the world, she's going to be done with it. You got Pokemon Scarlet over there, Mike, just like me?
Oh, I also got Scarlet.
Yeah.
We all got Scarlet. What reason did you pick Scarlet for, Andre?
I think I in general tend to go for the red version.
Oh, the red version.
Pokemon games.
Who was your starter?
Pokemon Sun, right? For example, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, for example. I tend to do that. I pick X. No. I mean Y. Y was the red one. I just tend to do that. But also, I like more the Scarlet has more Pokemon that are of the ancient sort of theming, while Violet has more Pokemon of the futuristic theming. I think they're both cool, and I've seen some of the exclusives, and some of the exclusives in Scarlet appeal to me a little bit more than ones in Violet, but I want both, so I'm definitely gonna
Sure.
be trading with people. I mean, I want to try and get every Pokemon in the game, so but that's why I went with Scarlet.
And who was your starter?
I picked Sprigatito because
Yeah,
Sprigatito
I
reminds
kind
me of
of figured that was
my gatito.
Quaxley over here. Mike, what was your starter?
Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk, Mike. No, I'm just kidding. What was your starter?
I got Fuet Coco, which turned out to be an ugly.
So look at that. We got all three of them here. Technically, I have all the starters because someone traded me the other two, but I only had Quaxley for my first few hours. All right, Mike, what have you been playing lately? Or do you want to comment on all this Pokemon nonsense?
Well,
playing the game.
Well, I've been playing Pokemon. I got the Violet version. I got Violet because it rhymes with garlic. And true story.
I love it.
I messed up and said garlic one time, and when I wanted to pick one, I saw that one rhymes with garlic, so I just picked Violet. I think I've been having a good time. I mean, I'm blind, so I can see like five frames per second anyway. So who cares about the frame rate for me? And when it comes to the glitchy stuff, I haven't seen anything big. I haven't gone through any walls, and I haven't fallen through any walls or the ground or. I mean, I'm taking advantage of the little glitchy part of that where the little glitch thing that you can actually jump up mountains.
The backwards jump. The backwards jump. Yeah.
So I'm taking advantage of that. I don't see that as a weakness. I see that as a strength. So I just do it. I just recently found out I got my 6th batch today, so I'm gonna go. I'm on my 8th batch today, so I'm gonna go do the gym thingy, the Pokemon League thingy,
the Elite Four thing.
Yeah. So got 8 badges, 3 of the star badges, and I got 2 of the other monster thingies. What are they called again? The other monsters. What are they called?
Titans.
Titans, yeah. I got 2 Titans, 3 star badges, and then 8 of the gym badges. So, but I've been enjoying the game. I mean, to me, this is my personal opinion. To me, because I've been kind of bypassing all of the. I love watching Glitch Fest. Like Pokemon Glitch Fest is cool. It's fun.
I'm kind of entertained by it.
I go online. And then there's glitch fest. Everybody talking about the glitches and everything. I'm like, I just like watching it because it's entertainment. You know what I mean? It's bad for the game. It's bad juju or bad promo for the game. But since I'm not experiencing none of it, then I'm good. The only thing I am experiencing that I didn't realize it until now because I'm not sure who mentioned it, was that Pokemon disappearing thing. Because it's like, oh, wait, look, I haven't gotten that Pokemon. It's far away. I turn away for a second, go back, and it's not there anymore. That's the only thing I haven't been, that's the only thing I've been, I've been experiencing that. That's basically it. But when
I guess I'm really lucky. I guess if I'm thankful for anything, I'm thankful that I have not seen the same level of glitches as everyone else playing Pokemon.
I mean, I have not seen a glitch at all. That just basically the Pokemon disappearing, which I could care less about that. I just, to me personally, I could say that I am having as much fun with this game than Arceus, and I feel Nate's gonna be a little bit shocked by this. That he knows, and people know, I've been looking for that game to kind of get me going through while I get Breath of the Wild 2, and I think this is the game. This is the game that even though with all glitches and everything, I bought 2 copies of it. I bought Scarlet and I got Violet. My daughter's playing Violet. She has no issues with it. And that goes to what you were saying as well, that, we as people who cover games all the time, we look at everything when it comes to the game because we do that. It's our kind of our job, to analyze games, to review games. But when it comes to kids, my daughter, she loves the game. She has no clue about glitches. She hasn't mentioned anything at all. She's excited about catching Pokemons and here left and right, not looking at the resolution, not looking at the frame rates, not looking at anything. She's just happy playing the game. And I think that's at the end, that's why the game sells. That's why Pokemon is Pokemon. That's why it sells well. I've been having a blast with it, and I feel that it's taking aside the glitches and everything. This is the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon. This is what I was looking for for them to do, because I'm actually enjoying the exploration. I love the. I literally just found out you can actually fly today. You can actually fly from point to point. I didn't know that. I'm like looking at the map. I see the little wings. I'm like, what the heck is that? I clicked on it. Fly here. I'm like, what? You have to tell you're telling me I've been walking through the entire map all this time, getting all 8 badges on foot, and I could have just warped there.
If you know, before you can warp. I know that, and I intentionally choose to not do that because I just like exploring.
I haven't done that,
and that's been a thing in Pokemon for a while too.
I mean, I do that in Breath of the Wild. In Breath of the Wild, you kind of
every shrine or tower.
Yeah, all the towers. Yeah,
exactly. So it's kind of the same thing. I don't see it as a you can do it. But the one thing I have to say that I'm hating. I don't think shinies are real. I don't think they exist. People talk about shinies. Oh, a cut is shiny. Look at shiny I caught. Look how cool it is. They're like, you made it up. You just put it on photo.
People who get them share them. The people who don't get them don't share them. So they seem more popular than they actually are. It's like what I forget the number. It's like 1 in 4,096 or something like that.
Whatever. If they don't exist for me, they're a myth. That somebody made it up and everybody went with it. Because I've never caught one in my entire life. I've been looking for shinies since Pokemon Go. I looked for shinies in Arceus. I looked for shinies in what's the other one? The Sword and Shield, right? I mean, after I beat the game, I went looking for shinies. They don't exist. They're not there. I mean, at least they maybe not for me. I'm like, oh yeah, you could just look at little groups and just find the odd one out. Easy enough for you to say. It's a myth. I don't believe in shinies. It's not there, not real. So that's the only one. My only beef with the game, but I love it. It's awesome. I'm enjoying it.
It's always more like a beef with other people talking about the game and the game itself.
I do have beef with other people, and I'm like, I found this shiny. It looks like.
So I'm gonna say something. It's also possible that you have been in the presence of a shiny and have not realized it's a shiny.
Why? Is it how do I know if it's a shiny?
Because it looks different.
But that's the thing; they all look the same.
But sometimes, like for example, there are some Pokemon that are so small you don't even notice them in the grass. It's possible there's a shiny there. Although I think they're supposed to make like some sort of shiny sound. I haven't found a shiny in Scarlet and Violet yet, so I don't know.
And then when you're encountering them and you're actually fighting with them, is there anything that tells you it's a shiny? Is there like a little star? Do they shine?
I think I haven't played Scarlet and Violet, so I don't know what they do in Scarlet and Violet. I haven't looked it up. I know usually when you find a shiny Pokemon in the actual battle, they'll have like a little gleam, like there'll be a little something, and they look different. The interesting thing about Scarlet and Violet, and also Legends of Arceus, because Pokemon roam around, you can see when they're shiny. And actually, before Scarlet and Violet came out, I did catch a shiny like a couple days before Scarlet and Violet came out playing Legends of Arceus.
I don't believe you. It's a myth. No shiny.
I'll show you. It was was it a tentacle? I think it was a tentacle.
It's a myth. Shinies don't exist.
They're a different color. That's why people will say like look in a group of them, because if one looks different, it's because they're a different color, and that makes them a shiny.
Yeah, but sometimes it can be subtle.
Yeah.
So it's possible you've passed by one without realizing.
No.
It's possible you caught one without realizing at this point.
No. No, I know because and it says actually 0 shiny.
Oh, that's right. There is a counter.
Oh,
I forgot there is a counter.
I'm like
what? 0 shiny is caught or seen? It's caught, right? They measure
like 0 seen, caught, whatever. It's just 0.
I don't even know. It just says shiny and 0.
No shinies for you.
I don't have my Switch. Oh, my Switch is a little bit is over there. I'm like, I can't go on my Switch to look at the menu screen yet.
Whatever, dude. It's not real. I don't believe in shinies anymore. It's a myth.
It's whatever.
It's a myth.
Okay.
I don't care about shinies personally. So
I got this baby, so I'm happy.
That looks awesome. I'm actually jealous.
Yeah.
And also, I have not gotten a shiny in a Scarlet and Violet, so
But the thing is that this is
I
not for
haven't
me.
caught
This is
one
for
yet, either
for
in Scarlet
giveaway.
Violet. I even know what to look
talk
for,
about
and I
the
still
giveaway. I may
haven't.
sign up.
I also got this one.
I
Look,
haven't
got
gone
all of them.
shiny hunting either, so I haven't really tried to get one.
I'm like, I shouldn't buy an OLED because I think a new Switch is coming out next year.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I already have my own OLED, my Switch OLED. These are for the channel because I promised.
They're just gonna
20K.
ride. They're gonna
Remember
ride Switch OLED another 2 years, and I'm just gonna sit back and go, "Yep."
Yeah. Yeah. So 20K, 2 switches, 30K, 3 switches, 40K. Oh man, that'd be bad.
Dude, at the rate you're going, you might be at 20K before the end of the year.
I could do the 20K. I can do
Start creating fake Google accounts, subscribing to you.
Oh,
Maybe
I have
first
a person who watches
Don't
all
do
my
that.
videos named
Or
Corey,
that's
and
where
he
they catch that.
he's like, I could write up a script quick that'll get you all the subscribers you want.
You mean for the? You mean for to answer for the giveaway? Is that what you guys talking about?
No, to boost the subscriber count to get the giveaways going faster.
I'm losing money.
What? You don't want me to write a script that'll get you to 20K tomorrow?
Nah, no, I'm good. I'll let the people come in on
It's
their own.
okay. YouTube gets mad at you if you use scripts like that.
They like you to subscribe. They don't. Keep on going. Keep on going.
Organic growth is what matters.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Totally.
Nothing else.
You
Nothing
ever see those channels with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers that get like 10 views?
Dude, I'm
Nothing
about to be that, but at least my shorts get views.
Yeah.
At least you can look at my channel and find something getting views that makes sense.
I'm not always gonna be a news channel. I already said that. I told everybody on the channel. Look, I'm not always gonna be a news channel. This is me now. This might not be me 5 years from now.
So
Over time.
I always wanted to be like a game review channel, and I realized now that that'll never happen because I have this thing called a fiance, and if I soon to be wife, and if I decide I'm gonna be a game reviewer, it means I'm spending 100 hours a week playing video games. She's not gonna be happy with me. So. So I'm gonna stick to the news. I'm always gonna be a news guy and a fact guy, and just leave it at that because that works for
It depends
my
on your
life.
structure. Because if you say, okay, from 9 to 5, that's my job. I'm gonna be games from 9 to 5. You know, clock in, sit on the couch, play games. Clock out.
No, she'll
back-
still get mad about it.
Overtime.
She'll
Like
still get-
45 hours a week is fine.
Yeah, I gotta do a little OT. We got a big launch this weekend. I just got a review copy I didn't plan to have, and I'm already reviewing another game, and now I got to get this copy done in 5 days. So I got to put in a 70-hour week this week, babe. I'm sorry.
It is a lot of work to review games.
It is a lot. I don't know how Dreamcast guy does it. He puts out so many reviews.
Yeah.
I don't know how he.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem worth it.
I like talking about products.
I also don't
I
I also don't like the way that I find myself playing games when I'm doing reviews too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll review if I have a chance. I'll talk about how I feel about a game because I was gonna play that game anyway, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it is. Like, yeah, I'll review a game, but only if I was gonna play it. I'm not gonna review a game that I didn't.
I figure if I have anything to say about games, I'll just do it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm gonna always be a news and fact guy, and sometimes I'll have like rants and discussion videos and other things. And there'll be some other types of content that I have sitting on the back burner. I'll get to someday, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
I like what I do. I've been covering news for like 25 years. I'll just keep going. I'm good at it. I think maybe I'm not really that good at it. If I was that good at it, I'd probably be a much bigger channel. But I enjoy it, so there's that.
It's also possible it just doesn't work out that way always.
What doesn't?
Yeah.
What doesn't work out? Me? Yeah, I need to hit the
Listen,
gym.
I like news. I like news, but then I'm finding it. I'm finding it. I'm losing. I'm not being challenged enough. That's how I feel in the news area, because you do research, you find news, you talk about the news. You do research, you find news, you talk about the news. You know, and then you do that from Monday to Friday, and then it becomes too repetitive, and then it feels like a job. I don't like having a job. You know what I mean? I like doing what I'm passionate about, which is of course gaming, content creation. You know,
And I'm passionate about covering news. You know what's crazy about my passion for covering news?
yeah,
People just call me not a gamer because I spend more time covering news than playing games.
yeah. But you say I'm a journalist, you can say that. You know, I'm a
It's also
journalist.
your job.
Exactly.
Bro.
So you know,
Mm,
but yeah, I mean,
my,
believe it or not,
mm,
I see myself in a
this
way,
is a fun
not
podcast.
I don't want to compare myself to this content creator, but in the way of content creating, I like I like to play games on I'm still working on my stream setup, having issues with that. But I like to play games. I like to talk news and I like to do products, right? But I also like to do the skits. So I'm combining all of it together. I do the skits for the promo, for the sponsor videos, and I do this and I do that. But what I want to do is basically more like just be me in the world of Nintendo. You know what I mean? If I want to go hunting for video games one day, go to flea markets, make a video there. If I want to go cover Super Nintendo World because it's right there in my backyard, I want to do that. If I want to, you know what I mean? I want to expand.
Live in New York?
No, I live in Orlando.
I thought you were talking about the Nintendo World Store.
No,
In
Super
Times Square.
Nintendo, yeah, Super Nintendo World here at
We live
Universal.
in Orlando though, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I also want to travel to New York and go do a video over at the Nintendo store, you know, stuff like that. I want to go to California. I think I'm going to Super Nintendo World there. I want to do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Conventions, just do
That'd be
content.
fun.
Yeah, do content that is interesting, is fun. It's not always repetitive, and it's entertaining. You know, it's super entertaining. I want to give away 100 Switches in one video. 100 Switches. I want to go to I'm not gonna say a poor country and give them the Switches because they need food and clothes instead of switches But do stuff like that, do fun stuff. Things that not only entertain but inspire too. And that's it's coming. It's coming.
So the Golden
Yeah.
Joystick Awards.
Yeah. That's the next topic.
Now, can we just continue arguing about Pokemon, please?
Oh boy, you want to continue
I'm not-
arguing? I don't know whether I don't even know what we're arguing about at this point.
I
We
don't
both
wanna
have our
drink-
opinions, and nothing's really going to change it. So it's kind of a weird argument.
Yeah, well, you see, my experience of the game was better than yours, so
But I don't have any more of the brownies, and then I don't want to drink all the eggnog today.
oh,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't stop selling it. You can buy more.
Yeah, but I can't. Thing is that this is like the real eggnog, not the light one and stuff.
Yeah, it's
And
the
I
good
used-
stuff.
I used to be able to get drink the real eggnog like a lot, but not so much anymore because I'm getting older.
All right,
little
so
fart.
the Golden Joystick Awards. Let's just go through this quick. Nintendo didn't really have much going on in these awards, but they won Best Nintendo Game.
Mm,
Won Best Nintendo Game, so that is something.
imagine another company won Best Nintendo Game of the Year.
Other Nintendo game is gonna win best Nintendo game.
Anyways, best storytelling, it went to Horizon Forbidden West. There was nothing really from Nintendo nominated there. Return to Monkey Island's the closest, but that's also on PC and it's a third-party game. Let me see. The Still Playing Award. The only thing that is even semi-related to Nintendo that was nominated was Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go.
So Genshin Impact won. Best Visual Design went to Elden Ring. There was nothing from Nintendo nominated. Studio of the Year. From Software. Kind of interesting. There was no Nintendo Studio nominated. Best Game Expansion. Again, nothing from Nintendo. So it went to Cuphead. The Delicious Last Course, that's cool. Best Early Access Launch.
Can't play that on Switch, so
What? The Delicious Last Course?
yeah,
Yeah, you can.
right?
Yeah, you can play it on Switch.
Yeah, so that's something.
Well, I mean, it's just a multi-platform. It's an award for a multi-platform game. Like, hey, Switch has a multi-platform indie game. Congrats. Best Early Access, which this wouldn't have anything to do with Switch anyway. It's mostly PC stuff here. Slime Rancher 2, Best
Bomber.
indie game, which Nintendo doesn't have any indie games nominated, so Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb.
Best multiplayer game, Nintendo finally gets nominated with Splatoon 3, but it goes to Elden Ring. I find that there is multiplayer. There's online multiplayer that leads to co-op, and it's not a very popular feature of the game, and yet that's what won best multiplayer game. So
Right. It sounds like a load.
like it's not a multiplayer.
That was-
game. People don't consider
that was-
Elden Ring a multiplayer game. Like it's just not considered a multiplayer game. It's a game that has tacked on multiplayer.
Mention the other, mention the category. The other games that are in the category to see
Well,
what they were against.
Shredder's Revenge.
That's
is on there.
multiplayer.
That's
strictly
multiplayer. Yep. I mean, it's got co-op, but it's literally been advertised as 4-player co-op. Multiverses, clearly a multiplayer game. Splatoon 3, clearly a multiplayer game. Tiny Tina's Wonderland,
Where is that?
kind of like in the Elden Ring category, where it's more like a single-player game with tacked on multiplayer. And then Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which again I wouldn't consider to be a full-on multiplayer game. It's more like a single-player with tacked on multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah.
there's 3 actual multiplayer games, and none of them even had a chance because Elden Ring was in the category. And as you'll find out, if Elden Ring's in the category, Elden Ring is winning the category. That's just how it's going in these awards. Might be how it goes with the
Not
Game
best
Awards.
at that particular element, which bothers me, but whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best whatever.
I agree with it being Game of the Year.
Sure. Best audio. Hey, Xenoblade actually got nominated for this. It doesn't list the winner here. Hold on, Best audio went to Metal Hellsinger. Metal Hellsinger got best audio. So Xenoblade did get nominated at least, which it didn't get nominated for the Game Awards for it. So hey, I'm happy just to see it nominated. Best game trailer. Nothing from Nintendo. Went to Goat Simulator 3.
Hey,
And get me right, Goat Simulator 3's trailer is pretty hilarious. So
Yeah, it's too much.
I'm kind of okay with that one. Best game community. I had no idea how they determine any of this. Splatoon 3 somehow did make the list, but I went to Final Fantasy
the
14.
community.
Yeah, I don't really know how they determine the community. I
haven't been playing Final Fantasy 14 for years.
Yeah,
It's just like an MMO that doesn't die.
Yeah, well, it's just like World of Warcraft. It's just gonna stick around. Best gaming hardware. I mean, this is just new hardware that released this year. Clearly, Steam Deck was going to win. It went up against the Playdate, the Analog Pocket, the Backbone 1 PlayStation Edition, Rocat Cone XP, and the WD Black SN850 NVMe SSD for PlayStation 5, which is just a rebranded SSD, but whatever.
Isn't Backbone like adapter for your phone?
Yeah, something like that. That lets you play PlayStation games on your phone. By the way, gaming hardware, to be fair to this category, they've had this category for like a decade. Gaming hardware, it doesn't need to be like a new system. That's why you'll see like an SSD on here or an add-on for a phone. It's just a piece of tech that came out that affects gaming. But Steam Deck was the biggest release of tech for the year, so it was clearly going to be the winner there. Breakthrough award.
Like they think Steam Deck is better than PS5 or like.
Switch. Yeah, no, that's not what I mean. It's
the
just the
hottest thing that came out this year.
Yeah, it's just what they think is the most important piece of tech in gaming that came out in 2022.
I don't agree. I don't think Steam Deck is better than the SSD card here. I don't think so.
You mean the NVMe SSD that you could buy before this year, but it got rebranded to a PS5 this year, so it gets included?
Yeah, I prefer the hard drive.
For the hard drive? All right. Well, I mean, you can use it outside of your PlayStation 5, so there's that.
Yeah, man.
Breakthrough award went to Vampire Survivors. Don't even know what else was nominated because there's nothing there. Critics' Choice was Elden Ring. I always wonder how Critics' Choice differs from Game of the Year because I think the same people vote.
Fan vote mode,
unless maybe Critics' Choice is like maybe Critics' Choice is based on the highest review Game of the Year. So there's not really a vote. Yeah. So maybe there's not really a vote for that one. It's just whatever the critics' highest review Game of the Year. So maybe that's how they do that. Best performer. So this would be like voice actors and stuff. Went to Man Engage, Marissa Marcel from Immortality. There is nothing from Nintendo nominated, but we had Return to Monkey Island, Horizon Forbidden West, Tiny Tina, and God of War Ragnarok up in there. Interesting that God of War Ragnarok is actually only nominated for 2 awards, and it didn't even get nominated for Best PlayStation.
Anti-Sony.
I don't understand.
Is Stray actually an exclusive for PlayStation? I didn't know that.
It's also on PC, That's what I don't understand. It's technically not. Sony paid for the development of the game, but it's also on PC. So I don't really understand how it counts as a PlayStation exclusive, but then God of War isn't there.
It's a PlayStation. It's a Sony published game, I guess.
I don't know. But so Nintendo Game of the Year, they had Xenoblade, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Live Alive, Splatoon 3, and Nintendo Switch Sports. Kind of fine.
I would have chosen Xenoblade or Kirby.
Like I also don't understand how Nintendo Switch Sports is on there over like Triangle Strategy,
right?
Or like any other game that came out this year from Nintendo. Nintendo had a lot of games come out this year, and Nintendo Switch Sports.
Xenoblade. Sorry, I was just saying I wrote down both Kirby and Xenoblade as games that maybe should have won over Legends Arceus.
Yeah, but Legends Arceus was the pick, which it's fine. I think the people that were probably picking were probably like, one, it's a good game, and two, to them, maybe it was the Pokemon game they've been waiting for. The people on the panel, hey, it's a semi open world. I love the catching mechanics. Love this. They
also might be anti-anime, so
that could be the case as well. Then again, Pokemon is anime too, so
yeah, but yes and no. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sure. I went ahead and looked at the PlayStation Game of the Year.
Yeah. We'll get to PlayStation Game of the Year in a moment. PC Game of the Year, Return to Monkey Island, which I also find hilarious because it's also on Switch. So I don't understand these awards because then Return to Monkey Island should have qualified for Switch then, but it didn't. So it's on PC. So a game that you could play on your Switch won PC Game of the Year. Neon White was nominated as well, which is also on Switch. The only actual PC only games on this list are Total War Warhammer 3 and Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate, and those should have been the ones that one of those two probably should have won, but that's not how they do this apparently. It don't matter if you're exclusive or not to win Game of the Year. So then I could think of a lot of other games you could put it instead of Nintendo Switch Sports on Nintendo's list, but it doesn't matter. PlayStation Game of the Year. So they had Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, Elden Ring, The Last of Us Part 1, and Sifu. Again, multi-platform games on here, so apparently that's irrelevant, as we've proven. And one of the actual exclusives that was already nominated previously for Best Performance in God of War somehow is not. It's up for Game of the Year, but it can't be up for Best PlayStation Game. I don't understand the logic. The winner was Stray, by the way. Stray beat out Horizon Forbidden West, apparently, and beat out Elden Ring. I'm trying to understand how this happens. Stray is apparently the best. Cat Game's the best. The actual best PlayStation exclusive game that came out isn't even on the list. Look, you guys know that I got a problem with the Game Awards listings. I almost have a bigger problem with these. I don't understand any of the logic used for any of this.
It's almost like it was made by someone's opinion and it wasn't
a single person. It was like probably a single person, I swear. Now, granted, these awards have been going on for 40 years. So they're one of the longest running game awards. That's why people cover them. People, what the heck are the Joystick? They've been going on forever. They're one of the. I think they actually are the longest running game award. That's why people pay attention. But I also wonder if this is just like a guy and a couple buddies in a basement at this point.
Yeah,
making these decisions. It's kind of weird. Xbox Game of the Year. So Halo Infinite, which I guess I can buy because the campaign came out this year. Scorn, Grounded, which technically did release this year, even though it's been in like an open beta forever. Its official release was this year. As Dusk Falls, Sniper Elite 5, Dying Light 2, Stay Human. What's curious here is how Elden Ring counts for PlayStation but not Xbox. Not really sure how that works. It's on both platforms, and it's on PC, so Elden Ring should just be in every category but Nintendo, but it's not. Either way, Grounded won, which is fine. I'm okay with Grounded winning. And they didn't have a whole bunch of exclusives come out this year, so Grounded's better than people give it credit for. People just don't consider it new because it's been an open beta for so long. Most Wanted game. Here's a win for Nintendo. Here's something that might matter. Tears of the Kingdom won Most Wanted game. There was absolutely zero other Nintendo games on the list. So sorry, Fire Emblem Engage. Nobody wants you. Pikmin and Metroid. Nobody wants you guys either, apparently. So
Metroid's not necessarily coming out next year.
This doesn't say next year. This just says Most Wanted games, and there are plenty of games on here that are definitely not coming out.
They haven't shown enough about Metroid for people to get excited about it.
Or you can argue they haven't shown enough about Tears of the Kingdom for people to get excited about it.
Yeah, I actually not even sure I agree with that choice, but that's a
Yeah.
whole other discussion.
Now the other options we had Final Fantasy 16, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Dead Island 2, Forspoken, Street Fighter 6, Jedi, Star Wars Survivor, Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, Honkai Star Rail, Starfield, Exo Primal, Redfall, Hogwarts Legacy, Mass Effect, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Hollow Knight Silksong, Kerbal Space Program 2, and Dead Space. Again, not all these games are going to end up coming out next year. That's why I think it's just most wanted announced game. So only one Nintendo game got love, and it was the one that has. I guess I understand the hype for it's mostly probably based on the first game, not necessarily what we've seen so far. But the first game has set expectations that maybe people think it's going to hit. I guess we don't. We will find out when they start the marketing campaign, and obviously we'll find out for real when it comes out. But the marketing campaign for that game hasn't started yet. It's whatever. Then that ultimate game of the year, why it's the ultimate instead of just game of the year is beyond me. Elden Ring won, no surprise. But what's funny is certain games are on this list that didn't get nominated for Best Nintendo Game either, such as Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Would have been a nice inclusion over Nintendo Switch Sports, I think most can agree. But no, it's got nominated for Game of the Year, but not for Best Nintendo Game. Explain that to me. Bayonetta 3, nominated, by the way, for Ultimate Game of the Year, wasn't on the list for Best Nintendo Game. I don't...
Maybe in their minds that they're third-party efforts, so they don't count.
Well, then why is Elden Ring on PlayStation's list?
I didn't say the list was supposed to make sense.
I'm just saying, how does it not count when they have third-party games on the other people's list?
My honest opinion, I think that
this list it's weird. So, like, I understand Elden Ring being up, and Elden Ring's probably the right choice. Neon White, to me, is probably the best indie game. So I'm glad to see Neon White on there, although Neon White didn't even win its own category. So I'm confused. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is on here. We got Xenoblade 3. We got Teardown, Return to Monkey Island, which I guess it won Best PC Game, so there you go. God of War Ragnarok is on here, even though it wasn't up for Best PlayStation Game for some ungodly reason. That's not a third-party game. That's fully owned at Sony Studio and Sony published, but I try to make sense of this stuff, and I don't understand it. This makes even less sense than the Game Awards. So, I don't even know. Like, I can't even say there's a bias. I don't really understand the awards. That's my takeaway going through all this for like the fourth time now is I don't understand these awards at all. I'm going to go to the official website here and I'm just going to see if there's any explanation at all about any of this. Like I need an explanation. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
I have none.
Yeah, like I just think it's a bad list.
So the list is, by the way, it used to be its own thing. It's now officially part of Games Radar. So Games Radar, which is a semi-popular place, is now what runs it. So this is basically their winners. And I would love to speak to whoever got to make these decisions and just ask several questions. Even just the Nintendo game category. You know what? All the individual platform. I'm not even single out Nintendo. All the individual game platforms.
So you know what it might be. I don't know. Like I don't really know that much about the awards. I don't know who's responsible.
Well, they announced it. Laura Bailey and Troy Baker, stars of The Last of Us Part 2, were the ones that did the official unveiling. So they hired some big name people to unveil it. So they're putting money into these awards. I just don't.
I don't know. It's bias exists.
Yeah.
So here's how the judging works. Here's the official explanation. We strive to create a broad list of categories and nominees which represent the best that gaming has to offer. Sadly, we're often unable to include some much-loved popular titles. We endeavor to make this judging process as transparent and inclusive as possible. Publishers and developers are invited to nominate their games. So they're getting the nominations from publishers and developers, apparently. And they nominate in early September. So that might explain why God of War wasn't nominated for Best PlayStation. It wasn't out yet. Also, how to get nominated for Game of the Year when it wasn't out yet. These are the questions I'm wondering how games can be nominated without being out yet when nominations were in September. Oh, this is why. Because these nominations are added to a long list of titles selected by future PLC editors, trusted freelancers, and external experts. So they're taking nominations from publishers and developers combined with media. The panel then shortlists a broad array of titles as possible, balancing out critical reception, notable innovation, and technical excellence, and subjective preference. So basically, it's just whatever the fuck they feel like. That's kind of what I get from that. At least they admit to it.
The thing is, when you take a look at Legends Arceus, like, if someone says that Legends Arceus is their favorite game of the year over Xenoblade or Kirby, I don't think that's a wrong choice. It is subjective, you know.
Yeah.
I think they're all. I think I would put all three of those games in the top 5 Switch games for this year for sure. Objectively speaking, I think they are. So, you know, but again, objectively speaking,
I'd fill out the top 5 with Bayonetta 3 and Sparks of Hope. That'd probably be the top 5 for me this year.
But you're forgetting about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't reward games that are that broken.
I understand.
I'm enjoying it, but I enjoyed Arceus more because it just, like, the biggest thing that hurts me in Scarlet and Violet is I see ways they could have kept a very similar catching mechanic and still had it be traditional, and they just didn't do it. Which is fine. They were obviously never doing it, which is fine. But also, I love that so much. Like, it's one of my favorite things about Arceus. So to see that not come back, kind of. I mean, maybe it'll happen in the future.
Mechanic where you can fight Pokemon really quickly.
Yeah.
That's like a replacement for. It's not a replacement, but, like, you know, to get things done quickly.
Yeah,
you know,
level quickly.
So now it would be really cool if in a future game we have both the catching mechanic in Arceus, but then also the Let's Go battle mechanic. So it's very sped up gameplay. But, you know, thinking more on it, I think one reason why we didn't see that catching mechanic in Scarlet and Violet is because Scarlet and Violet is intended for more of the mainstream Pokemon audience, and aiming around is more challenging than just pressing a button. So I think that's probably why they didn't do that this time.
Well, I don't even need to aim. I mean, they added ZL targeting to aim your Pokemon. They could have did the same thing with the Pokeballs.
I guess you're suggesting just maybe throw a ball instead of throwing a Pokemon out.
Yeah, and then if the ball breaks, then you start the battle.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. Like, I have the option. Just
like they already let us chuck our Pokemon at them, so why not chuck a ball?
Yeah.
Like make the sneak mechanic have a bit, because you can sneak in this game and gain an advantage, but it doesn't really feel like it's that big of an advantage. Where it might feel like one if I could throw a Pokeball and get a catch bonus. But it's neither here nor there. It's whatever. That's all I wanted. It didn't have to be exactly like Arceus. Just the ability to throw the Pokeball.
No, I agree with you though. I kind of wish they had that too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And it's to your point, it doesn't have to be aiming. It's just when you lock on, you can choose between either sending out your Pokemon like it is now by default, or just chucking a ball and seeing if it works.
Yeah.
I like it.
Anyways, they actually are pretty transparent in how this works. There's a whole list of stuff they go through, but ultimately it seems like the nominees anyways. Like how they vote on it seems pretty legit. But how they get to the nominees, I mean, they admit subjective. Okay, well, that's fine. You're not going to make any of these lists without some subjective. Like there'll be people that I'll say those are my top 5 Switch games, and they'll just be like, oh, well, I would swap out this game for Mario Strikers because I absolutely love Mario. Okay, fine. Like I can't argue with it. It's subjective. You know,
to that point, Switch Sports. Well, I don't think it belongs in the same list. That doesn't mean, you know, it's not a good game and it can't be enjoyed to a great degree by certain people who would nominate it.
And in the top 5, I didn't even mention Triangle Strategy, which many people would argue should be in top 5. So Switch had a lot of games this year. Like a lot of exclusive games came out. It's kind of crazy. Live Alive, really, really good game. I know that it's just a remake or whatever, but it's really good. It's a really good remake. So,
the Live is a remake. I didn't know that.
Mike, do you have any thoughts on this thing? I mean, you were the one that came up with the topic, so please tell me you have something to say.
Oh, basically, I came up with the topic because I thought we would have a 3-way discussion on basically the awards and a comparison between the bias on this one or the bias on the Game Awards, and see how, which one in our opinion made the better choice. But looking at the list, I don't feel like none of them did. I think I believe that something that is not chosen by the fans, to me, it's not valid. They can come up with whoever they want, they can pick whoever they want, but if it's not chosen by the people who actually play games on a daily basis, who buy the games, who invest their time, I mean, yeah, you have the media, okay, you have the media who covers the news, and you have the whatever executives, and you have whatever pick whatever they want to pick. But at the end, when it's all said and done, it's us, the people who actually consume the product, who pick it up from the shelves or at the store, who download it on our switches and play the game itself.
Yeah.
When the vote doesn't come from us, the majority of the vote, then it's like, how does this really pertain to me? You know what I mean? If I didn't vote on it, I didn't, like I said, I could have chosen, like that top Nintendo games, or games missing there that we found all those games on Game of the Year. I'm like, wow, okay, so it's just what it is. So that's why I'm always very iffy about these. First thing, 40 years of joysticks awards. I mean, they should do more. They should have a bigger event. They should do more. They should do more for the community when it comes to the way they choose games and voting. The Game Awards. The best thing about the Game Awards is just the presentation, like the trailers, not the awards. That's the most boring part. The trailers, the announcements. Hopefully we get the Mario trailer. Hopefully we get the a game trailer, another Tears of the Kingdom, in the Tears of the Kingdom trailer. That's the most exciting part of the Game Awards. It's not even the awards. The awards is just the most boring.
The announcements and stuff, yeah. The world premieres.
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes to these awards, that's basically my opinion. I feel like they need to do more. They just, it's like the same single year. It's just
I have a slightly different take.
Tears of the Garlic, like
my favorite, the awards that matter the most to me every year are actually the Game Developer Conference Awards, because it's purely developers nominating. They can't nominate their own stuff, and voting. And so it's peers honoring other peers in the same field. The thing with fan votes, and by the way, there are some media outlets that do all their awards just fan votes. It's just polls they throw up, and the votes decide everything. Happens every year, and that's cool. But the reason those don't get as much pub is because fan votes boil down to popularity contests rather than quality contests. It's a lot of people only play a single game all year, and they're going to vote that game in every category. Yeah, they're going to vote that game in every category. They don't care. They don't care what else was nominated. It doesn't matter to them because they didn't play the games. They're going to vote their favorite game, and they're going to vote it for everything because it's the only thing they play. You play Call of Duty, and that's all you play every year. Hugely popular game. It's going to win every category it's in. Like that's one reason why I don't give as much credence to fan vote based awards, because the fan vote based awards, you see this in the NBA, by the way, because fans have a huge say in who goes to the All-Star game, and it's popular players not necessarily always who's having the best season.
Played 40 games this year.
Yeah, and he's going to be the captain.
But then again, that's where you lose the fans in the awards. They care less. They have this big presentation. They show all these games that are nominated, and that's where you lose them.
But we have fan voted awards, and you don't know what they are because people don't care.
Because they're not that big, though. There's not. They don't.
But wouldn't they get big? Because people want the awards to be done that way. So why would those awards get big? Like my point is, like, we've had fan voted awards this entire time. Very few people talk about them because they just don't feel like they're as relevant. Because I think everyone knows, even people like me that love fan voting, like, oh yeah, I'd vote Tears of the Kingdom, no problem, for my most anticipated game next year because I'm a Zelda guy. But is it really? Am I really more looking forward to that over Forspoken or something? I don't. But I'm Zelda, so like I gotta. I'm Nintendo Prime. I got my biases. I'm gonna end up voting Nintendo and everything. Like,
Can I ask you guys
it's
something?
weird. What's up?
Yeah, it's interesting because like, and I mentioned it earlier. Like, even though in my mind, like logically speaking, like yeah, of course, Tears of the Kingdom should be like the most anticipated game because it's Zelda. Zelda is
I
objectively
think
the
it's my
best.
most
So
anticipated trailer when they finally give us a
like,
real one.
I guess my problem is that while logically I acknowledge that Tears of the Kingdom should be the most hyped game coming out next year, and like I expect that to be the best game that comes out next year, I don't find myself really that actually emotionally invested right now. And it may just be because of the lack of information on it, but probably is what it is. I'm just kind of curious how you guys personally feel about it because, like, I obviously I want Tears of the Kingdom used, but I don't feel rabid for it.
I think Nintendo
And
hasn't started the
yeah,
hype cycle for it yet. So it's kind of they're doing a slow burn. We now have a release date. And then whenever the next trailer drops, I think from that on forward they'll start pushing it like they do Fire Emblem Engage. There'll be
yeah.
Twitter
I mean, I
updates and
think they're
screenshot
gearing up
drops.
for it. You remember that Link statue?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
very detailed.
I think a lot of it is just they're waiting because you gotta remember it's like 6 months out. They have Scarlet Violet just drop a holiday period they want to get through. And I think once we're through the holidays, unless they decide to do it at the Game Awards, I've been on record. If Tears of the Kingdom wins most anticipated game and Doug Bowser's on stage grabbing an award, he'll point up and there will be a trailer. Because Nintendo would be stupid to not take advantage of, oh, you just won most anticipated game. To have a trailer. I also think Nintendo has been talking to Jeff Keighley, unlike other years. By the way, Nintendo hasn't really had that big of a presence at the Game Awards since Reggie retired, like at all. They just accept awards.
Minimal.
They just accept awards, and that's it. Pretty much from the remember when he was so proud he got all these presidents from all the companies to come on stage together. That was the last time Reggie worked for Nintendo. Every Game Award after that he didn't, and we already knew at the time that Reggie came up that he was already retiring. So we already knew he was on the way out when he made it happen. Which it was a really cool thing to see, but also it felt a little less cool because Reggie wasn't going to be there the next year because he's not going to be running Nintendo of America anymore. But I do think that there's been some conversing going on over the Mario movie trailer being there. The one that's been rated, it's 90 seconds long or whatever. I think Nintendo sees an 80 million worldwide audience they would love to shove the Mario movie in front of.
It's another teaser because it's shorter. I mean, if that one was a teaser, this is an appetizer.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I think this is the one that after the Game Awards is going to show up at movie theaters in previews.
Yeah.
I think that's
So
what
we
this
got
is
a
gonna be.
90-second trailer that was rated.
Yeah, it's rated already. Yeah, so we know it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just haven't shown it yet. So I think they'll show it there, and then it'll be at the movie theater because the movie theater trailers are usually about 90 seconds long, anyways. So I kind of feel like this is the one they'll show. They'll just show it, then it'll be the one they use to advertise during the holiday movies. But the thing is, if they've been talking over that, well then yeah, other things could have came up. Like, hey, just so you're aware, we're already looking at the numbers. Tears of the Kingdom is going to win this award. Nintendo already knows it, knows what awards they're going to win. Oh, by the way, all the companies know if they won already before the show starts. So it would be interesting to see if Nintendo in the talks like found out, oh, this is going to win. Well, then yeah, we already have a release date. Why wouldn't we show something? Like we're already working together on Mario. Let's throw Zelda. Let's remind people we got a movie and a game. Now, they could just push Fire Emblem Engage, or they could do nothing. But I think that they also saw, well, our best-selling Zelda game of all time appeared at 2 Game Awards. This is a sequel to that.
Before it came out.
Yeah, before it came out, yeah. This is
Then
a
it had
sequel to
champion-
that.
Technically, you could argue 3 when it came out because it won.
Well,
Game of
because
the
it
Year,
won,
and
yeah,
then
it
showed
won,
up
yeah,
in
yeah.
DLC.
It won, yeah. But I'm like, I can see Nintendo going, yeah, I know that, we don't have that tight of relationship, but if we're talking over the Mario movie, we do have Zelda coming in the first half of next year with a release date already. We haven't shown a lot of the game. Maybe now is the time we give people a true peek at what's going on. And it could steal the show. It could literally steal the show for reveals.
I agree.
Doesn't
I
mean it's
actually
going to
put out a
happen.
video kinda
Doesn't mean it's
talking
going to
about
happen. But
it. I think most likely it's probably just a movie trailer for Mario.
yeah.
But my second guess is okay, Zelda. My third guess is both. But
Yeah,
that's
like
probably
I think if they were talking over
a
Mario,
little bit
that's
of a
when
stretch.
Jeff Keighley, because Jeff Keighley would have been the one conversing. Oh, you're talking to me now. I could see him pushing for Zelda, or at least asking about it. Hey, you have a release date. You want to show it off?
I can show the same trailer they've been showing. So you know.
No, I swear to God, if it's just an old
That would be
trailer
a
showing again,
that would be
that
a
would,
commercial.
yeah,
That would be a
They'll show that as a commercial. They have commercial segments. They don't really denote always that we're in a commercial break now. Like they don't always say that. You're just like, oh yeah, that looks cool. Oh wait, I think I've seen that trailer before. Oh, because I have, because this is a commercial break.
I think last year what we got from Nintendo were just 2 different Switch commercials and not actually any announcements.
Yeah. And Doug Bowser accepting one of the awards or whatever in person, but
The Dread Award. We for sure were like hoping, oh, maybe they'll show off something Metroid because Metroid Dread is winning something now.
yeah, but then also, I mean, we still have no inkling on when Metroid Prime 4 is coming, so
Yeah.
it's kind of
Metroid
clearly wasn't ready for this year, so they
we're
were
not going to get a world premiere. I wish, but probably not.
But I also think like the things that Nintendo would show at the Game Awards that they were, well, obviously the Mario movie, because they show a lot of movie trailers now for video games at the Game Awards, so makes sense that to have Mario movie be part of that, especially since it's in April.
It's relevant at least.
It's relevant. It comes out in April. They're going to start hyping this thing up pretty quickly, so it makes sense. And they already have one rated, and they clearly are going to want it out in movie theaters for previews that all these holiday movies families are going to. So, but also Zelda. Zelda's always clicked with this audience. Nintendo knows their last won Game of the Year. Nintendo's not dumb. They might act dumb sometimes, but Doug Bowser isn't like completely clueless to, hey, this is the actual audience that plays this game. Maybe we should show it to this audience and get those pre-order numbers flying.
Trey, you think they would have to show off to really like hype us up? Like, what would the trailer have to flip the switch here? Because I mean, as I said,
there needs to be a smidge of voice acting shown off, showing off at least a tease of a story element.
Link talking.
I don't know what Link talking. I don't think they're doing that anyways. But there would have to be some sort of voice acting that kind of shows that like starting it off. It could even be a narrator that starts it off about like kind of recapping a smidge of like the very end of Breath of the Wild, but then like something like, and you thought it was over, but we have only just begun, or something like that. And all of a sudden they tease a big story element. They do some big reveal of something. I don't know what the reveal is going to be. It has to be something that just makes you go, whoa, wait a second. And I think they thought that's maybe what the falling into the sky and landing on the little floating thing was. But I mean, we can already paraglide. So there's a lot of like, do we even need that thing? What does it do? What's so different about this compared to the way we could already travel? So like, what do we just fly this around anywhere we want? Or is this just in a glider? We can already glide. So I don't, there's a lot of, what does this thing even need? Why do we have this flying saucer thing? What are we doing?
I think they don't need
something shocking. There'd have to be something shocking. Like I think, so you could tease a story all you want, and even if they have a Ganondorf reveal or something, whatever. But I feel like they would need to show something gameplay wise or world wise or dungeons, like something major that we didn't get in Breath of the Wild would need to be shown to be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I wanted.
I think like maybe like a 30 to 45 second clip of just like Link having like an epic boss battle in the air.
Yeah. Dude, an air boss battle, because we already saw patents for arrow stuff.
Exactly. Here's the image in my mind. Lord of the Rings, when we see the flashback of Gandalf fighting the Balrog.
Yeah.
That.
And they did that with Twilight Princess back in the day in the trailer.
Well, they had like the fire golem.
Yeah.
But it's not so much of a giant. It could be a really cool fire enemy, but I really just mean falling, fighting. Falling through the air, fighting.
Yeah, dude. Some aerial combat against a boss would just be sick. Or even just. By the way, a fight against a boss in general is one way they've always hyped up Zelda over the years. So just having one in general would be cool. Or you have one in the air followed by like confirmation of dungeons, and having Link walk into an actual temple with a
like
that would be Because it's like,
Ooh.
oh yeah, Zelda fans want this, but also, oh, they want dungeon. We heard you. And
So-
even if they teased, like, they're not going to tease how many
Yeah.
dungeons are yet. It'd be cool if they're just
No.
like, oh, you
Just
thought
10
that was it,
dungeons.
or like Zelda's like, just think, we have to do this 16 more times. What? Wait, what? What do you mean we have to do? We have to do a dungeon 16 more times? What are you talking about?
So imagine this as a scene, right? Like you see Link walk in to it. It's like a dungeon. The doors open up. Link walks in. He's
Yeah.
looking around this big tall room, and this giant beast from the top just sees Link, jumps towards him, crashes against the floor. Floor breaks, and because of the Sky Island, that's when the giant aerial battle breaks out. So the boss arena is actually in the air, but it starts off inside a dungeon. So if they confirm that we get to the boss battle from an actual dungeon, but the sequence of the boss fight is through the air. Obviously, that's just a random idea, but like we know there's been a huge focus on Sky gameplay. To your point, we have seen those patterns of the combat. So I think showing off something that's like, to your point, something big, something new, or establishing something that we didn't know was going to be in the game, like a core component, like returning classic dungeons, that would be cool. It'd be really cool. You do all that, but then the last 2 or 3 seconds, it fades out. You see the malice, and then we get a little teaser of Gandor's voice acting. It's just like you just hear like an evil laugh. 45 seconds, and just reiterate the release date.
I love every time Mike disconnects. It just messes up all the cameras. It's great. I was just about to drag Mike into, and then he vanishes. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe I can hide Mike so these people can like lead in so they can still see it. Let me see if I can hide Mike's camera for a second. He's either is he this one? No, that's you. It won't matter if I hide him, I don't think. No, it's not gonna matter the way I have it set up. Whatever, you just get giant half face. I'll just restart for a moment. I have no idea what's going on with Mike. Let me check the Discord just in case he's saying something. I don't see anything on Discord. Maybe he has a call or something, or he's talking to his wife. Anyways, so since I can't drag Mike into the conversation for some reason, because he's doing probably some in real life stuff, we basically only have one other topic. Because if you can't tell when Andres restarts on, Pokemon and Zelda are going to kind of be what gets talked about. That's just how we go. Things we're passionate about. But
it would be about Metroid. And
yeah, Metroid too. We're just we had some good talks on Metroid Dread last year, so but we're just kind of all sitting on our hands waiting at this point for something, anything. Just a hint of life would be nice. One thing we're supposed to talk about, our final topic is supposed to be what we're thankful for, and I'm going to kind of expand this to all of gaming. It doesn't have to just be Nintendo, but it's kind of been a wild and crazy ride in 2022. As we get out of the pandemic and get back to our normal lives and see how gaming works now, and we're doing that kind of stuff, and seeing all the big games that come out, or hardware that comes out, or console warring that happens, or Elon buying Twitter, and all this crazy stuff that happens in 2022. What are we thankful for? I'm not sure. Obviously around this time of year, we don't. People always talk about what they're thankful for. We should probably be thankful all year long. But hey, it's always a reminder that we have things to be thankful for. So as I try to do something with Andres here so you guys can see him. Andres, what are you thankful for this year from gaming, Nintendo, etc.?
Yeah, we were talking specifically about Nintendo. Or gaming. I guess I'm thankful and I'm happy that we've had consistent quality games coming out. Like we could sit here and complain, oh man, we didn't get Tears of the Kingdom, this sucks, or like there's no like legitimate game of the year contender from Nintendo. Those are things that come and go with the times. But when we sit down and think about it, we've had a pretty good game to play almost every month, at least, from Nintendo. We got Legends Arceus, we got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Live Alive, Triangle Strategy, Mario Rabbids, Bayonetta 3, Xenoblade 3, Splatoon 3. Yeah, now Scarlet and Violet, although there's some debate there, but a lot of people are still enjoying the game. So and that's just like the first party stuff, right? There's been a decent amount of third party stuff we've gone to. We finally got Persona 5. We've been waiting for that for a while. There's quality things. I didn't even mention Mario Strikers. I didn't even mention Switch Sports. Like it's been a quality lineup this year. It may not be the year where we have the Mario Odyssey and the Breath of the Wild and the Smash Ultimate, but it's been a lot of quality games consistently, and that's pretty good. We've had plenty to play.
Yeah, we've had a number of things to play this year. Like as Nintendo fans, I think it's safe to say that this is one of those years where there's probably been at least one game that came out that everybody who owns a Switch at some point was interested in. Whatever that game is. One of the Pokemon games. Maybe it was, Sparks of Hope. Maybe it was Triangle Strategy. Maybe it was Xenoblade. Maybe it was Splatoon 3. Like, there's a lot of games that came out this year, even third party wise as well. Persona 5 dropped on Switch this year. Like, that's a big deal. Other big third parties dropped this year as well on Switch. So I feel like this is that one of those years, kind of like back in 2017, where there's something for everybody. Now, that something might not be what occupies your entire year, so you still might feel like it's kind of a light year for you, but there's something. I don't think anybody walks away from this unless the only game you absolutely play Nintendo for is Metroid or something like that. Then yeah, I guess maybe there was nothing for you. But I don't think that makes up a majority of the audience. And I think a lot of people that play Metroid also play other Nintendo games. I mean, we even had, family games coming out. We had Strikers and Switch Sports. And so there's just been kind of sort of something for everyone. And if you're into, JRPGs, there's been a lot of something for a lot of people because there's been a lot of JRPGs this year. Nintendo is kind of quietly the king of exclusive JRPGs. They don't get everything, but they get a lot. We just don't get Final Fantasy for the most part, and that's Sony flexing their money for that. So, it's easy to pick out games because there's a lot of them, and be thankful for the number of releases we've had, or be thankful that we're kind of in a healthy place. I think in gaming, I think almost every platform at this point matters, has an audience, has things to be excited about moving forward, games to look forward to on everything. There's a lot of great things happening in this industry. I think the thing I'm probably most thankful for, and just in terms of anything, even tangentially related, and it could be a cop out if you guys want, because it's only relevant because of what I do. But the conversation and community around at least my sphere of the world of the internet, I don't talk to people in real life about games. If I don't tell people what I do for a living now, because I'm a YouTuber for a living, they'd have no idea I even play video games, because nobody around me really plays games. None of my friends really do. Like, you guys know Eric, co-host of the Center Prime podcast. He knows. Well, I can't remember the last time I talked to him about a video game. We talked about Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope. But, like, him and I don't really talk about games. We talk about sports. We talk about life. We talk about our jobs. We talk about, things in there. Eric sees every short before I send it out now, because I have this habit of grabbing the text I write for the short and sending it to him in a text message so I could read it off my phone. Because it's just quicker to me than opening up Google Docs all the time to kind of go because, like, my mic isn't set up over there. Now, I could move a microphone over there. To be honest, the second microphone that's here for Eric's not going to be here for 2 weeks. So I really should move it over to my desk, because it's already set up with my audio to have the mic over there. But I don't know. This is just the way I do things. I try to keep it consistent. So, like, if I get used to that, then, like, he'll come over and surprise me for the podcast next week, and he'll show up 2 minutes, 2 minutes before it begins, and I'll be like, oh crap, I don't have anything set up for you. So I just kind of like to leave. I like to set things up and leave it. So he knows about all my shorts before anything. He's like, man, why are you always texting me these things? I'm like, watch my channel. You might notice something. No, he knows now, but I'm just so appreciative of the online community. You know, everyone watching this podcast, talking in the chat. I've seen every single message. I don't always respond. For people wondering what happened to Mike, he's offline right now. I have no idea. I could probably text him. I'll send Mike a text message. I got his number here, and we'll just make sure he's at least doing okay. That he didn't get hit by a storm or something crazy. So I can give you guys at least a little update on if he's going to come back or not. Anyways, I'm just really thankful for all the gaming conversation because I don't get to talk games anywhere else. Sometimes it annoys my fiance. It'll be like 1 a.m. and here I am like text responding in a comment to someone about games. What are you doing? I'm like, I like talking about games, honey. I don't get to do it with, and you don't like talking about games. So like I showed her my short today that did really well. And she's like, I don't get it. I'm like, you don't have to get it. Like it's not, I didn't make the short for you. If I was making a short for you, it would probably be something completely different. Like, and I love that I have so much variety in my life with the people and their interest and my interest because I have a lot of interest, not just gaming. But it is nice in this last year, get hacked last year. Things are going down. My job all of a sudden started going south this year. And I'm like, I got you guys, man. I could turn on my camera, hit live anytime, and I have an audience of 50 plus people wanting to chat with me, wanting to just see what's going on. You guys making me do things like the dang super chat trains where we get 4 rapid fire super chats and I have to dance to Come On and Ride for 7 minutes long. And just even all the people on Twitter and Instagram and all the places that I communicate with gamers about video games, even when we disagree. Even today, when I misunderstood a tweet and responded incorrectly to it, and the person got mad and blocked me, I appreciated the interaction. No one has to interact with me. I don't have to matter to anyone. And yet, somehow I found my little corner of the world where people respond when I talk about games. And it's cool. And I'm very appreciative, maybe more appreciative than I think I've ever been in the past. I think I kind of took it for granted. Because before this, people cared too, right? I ran Zelda Informer and million follower, Facebook page where I could just say hi and all of a sudden there'd be 700 comments. I kind of took it for granted back then too. Because after getting hacked, I almost lost it all. The channel was going down. I was losing subscribers. We weren't getting comments. I mean, the channel was almost nuked. I almost quit this year. So I definitely was not appreciating what I had. And now, I love it. You guys drive me ridiculous.
Can we just address something in the chat real
Sure.
quick? I think people are worried that Mike left because he's upset because he didn't get to talk a lot.
No. Mike
that is
definitely
not why he left.
That is not why you left. Something's happening.
Yeah.
Mike would sit here
talking because he just didn't feel like talking that much for the topics. Like he could have spoken the whole time and it would have been fine.
Yeah, Mike interrupts no problem. If you guys have seen enough podcasts, he'll interrupt me whenever he wants. He just didn't have much to say on the topics, so he was just sitting back and enjoying. But no, he didn't. He hasn't even texted me back, so that makes me feel like there's something serious going on right now. So, and I don't know if there's a storm. I don't know if something's going on. If he lost power, that could be a thing. Of course, I would have expected a text back by now over that, but
maybe he decided to take a nap.
Yeah, or it could be he's got special needs children and stuff, so maybe there's something going on there. Maybe something happened to his wife. Could be family emergency. There's a lot of things happening, and I can't give you guys an update, so I try not to make assumptions. But Mike didn't leave because of the conversation. He's literally not even online or responding to text messages as a friend. It's just there's nothing nefarious there. People get mad sometimes. It's funny when Eric's on and are you ever gonna let Eric talk? Here, I'll shut up. And then it's just silence. He doesn't have anything to say. When Mike has something to say, if we were talking Mario, Mike won't shut up. Mario movie, I might as well just mute and sit back and watch him gush for 2 hours.
I would love to jump in on that. I'd like to talk about Mario too.
Go for it.
what I was gonna say, just speaking on like being thankful for stuff. Um, I guess right now I don't know who. Well, some of you for sure know, right? But like I announced this week that I was laid off from work. I was literally laid off from work this Monday, and I'm okay, right? I can find other jobs. I have money saved up. I don't have a lot of expenses right now, so I'm not like in a bad position per se. Obviously, if I take too long to make money, then it could. But I'm fine for a while. And I was like, all right, you know what? Let's try and push the channel. And I announced that, and there's a lot of support for that, and you know that I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that I have a viewership that cares. I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to even try doing something like this, right? And I'm thankful for both you, Nate, and Mike, that I have friends that I can talk to and get advice from about these things. Like that's super cool. So if we're talking about being thankful, I'm thankful for that. Now Nate's gonna leave his own podcast.
No. Some people in the chat are pretty mad at you. Oh, you talked over. That's what happens in podcasts, guys. He's talked over me in the past too, on topics he's passionate about. Mike is literally one time on a podcast. Someone clipped it. He told me to shut up. Mike ain't got no problem putting me in my place. Oh, guys. Anyways, yeah, no, I don't know. Obviously, don't know what's up with Mike. And if people truly think that he thinks this of me, don't worry. I'll just have him come on my live stream tomorrow, and he'll laugh that people even thought that. So, at least I think he'll laugh. If he's actually offended, that would be very, very surprising.
Shocking.
Since he's been co-hosting my podcast for over a year. So like. But whatever. I guess I'm full of myself.
Whenever
Mike.
Brandon leaves my show, I just assume he hates me.
So
But he'll be back next
like
week.
Blue Moon, you're full of yourself. I know Mike when he's mad. You know Mike so well. I have 3-hour conversations with him every day, even on holidays. Trust me. Like this is like a legit friendship thing. Like that's not how Mike rolls. So you might think he's upset. He's not upset. Now you might be upset about other things in his life. I don't go into his personal stuff. Only things he said publicly. I talked to him on Discord and you didn't notice. Yes, I did. Guys, right when he vanished, I said it's funny when Mike vanishes because the camera messes up. I commented on it right away. What are you talking about, man? Oh, I so hope Mike comes back before we end this so he can have a good laugh with me. Like literally, I made a comment the moment he vanished because I had to fix the camera. I know he left to get eggnog the first time. What is this?
Maybe he left to get more eggnog, but he realized
He's all out because he drank it all.
on the
Remember?
house. I guess so you had to drive to the store.
Yeah, drive to the store to get some
more
eggnog.
But then when he got to the store, it was too late to buy the eggnog because it was past 10 p.m. where there's an alcohol curfew. So he had to drive out of town to find a store that would sell it past curfew.
Yeah, that's a nice theory.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to even past. I don't know how it is in Florida. In Wisconsin, you can go past curfew and buy bottles from a bar.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know if that's legal there though. It's legal here to do that, but I don't know about there. He got some snacks and brownies too. Yeah, he was having a good time. He was having a good time watching me and Andre talk about Pokemon.
Yeah, he was just having snacks, listening to the nonsense.
Right. But assumptions are fun. Anyways, did you want to say something about the Mario movie? Have we had you on to talk about the Mario movie at all?
I don't know.
I don't know if we have.
I think the trailer was pretty damn awesome. I think the voice acting was actually pretty good. I guess you could say I'm a Chris Pratt defender. And when I say defender, I just mean I think we haven't seen enough of a sample size to truly judge. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I don't know if it's great, but it's not necessarily bad. The other voice actors, I think, did a fine job. And I think animation-wise, the movie is mind-blowingly good. I think looks kind of comparable to like what we would see from like a pretty high-budget like Disney animated movie. even though it's coming from Illumination. So I think Nintendo's definitely supporting Illumination here, and I think we're looking at a potentially extremely successful movie when it releases this April, and I'm excited to see another trailer. Hopefully this December.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing a trailer soon if it's out of the Game Awards, anyways. Like, I legitimately, guys, they're gonna have I mean, I guess they could just do the teaser as the trailer for the movies, but I think they would do something new. I don't know. I'm not. I don't. The movie industry is not one that I know a lot of for marketing reasons. I just go to the movies I know I want to see. I usually don't need that many trailers to decide if I'm going to see a movie, which is kind of weird for
Yeah.
Zelda. Like, I don't need more trailers to convince me to buy it. I mean, yeah, I'm going to buy it, but there is a little bit of like, am I hyped as much as I was for Breath of the Wild at this point? No, but also at this point, I had played Breath of the Wild at E3. So like it's different because I'm not going to get to play this game ahead of time. So
Breath of the
then
Wild was a new experience, right? Tears of the Kingdom, however much they do, it's not going to be as big of a jump. Like Tears of the Kingdom versus Skyward Sword. I mean, no, sorry, the jump between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild is going to be a bigger jump
sure,
than what we're going to see between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, it's a direct sequel, so
absolutely. All right.
It's kind of like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. Like, both those games came out this year. Both are sequels to incredible games. The sequels are still incredible games, but they're not. I mean, they're still amazing. I mean, Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok is arguably game of the year, right? And I'm not trying to dispute that. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard. But it's also not as exciting as the first God of War. It came first, but the first of this version of God of War. That was the big jump, right? This is kind of more of that. So it's gonna be tough for Tears of the Kingdom to kind of really excite people to the same level that Breath of the Wild did. Not impossible, just very challenging.
Yeah, not impossible. What I want to ask the chat before we sign out on the podcast here in a few minutes is, what are you guys thankful for in 2022? It doesn't have to be gaming related. Whatever you're thankful for. Let me know in the chat. This is kind of the holiday Thanksgiving podcast for us in the U.S. Of course, I know not every country has a Thanksgiving, so
or cheese or turkey.
Yeah,
maybe you're grateful for the Switch.
I've had a lot of people tell me Happy Thanksgiving the last 2 days, and I'm like, I'm confused. Are other countries' Thanksgivings like earlier this week that I'm not aware of?
It's we're not the first. It's already Thanksgiving for some people.
Sure.
Interestingly, though, I'm on the East Coast, so
7 minutes.
Celebrating in the States. It's not Thanksgiving yet.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I just checked my YouTube app. Apparently, Mike is streaming on his own channel now, saying that he hates you.
Cool. That'd be hilarious.
That's a joke.
Obviously.
Yeah.
that would be hilarious. The I hate Nintendo Prime stream. That'd be great. I'd legitimately laugh if he did that. Like, if he's reading the chat and he's like, all right, let's buy into this theory.
Let's stoke the flame.
So I just want to read off some of the stuff that you guys are thankful for. Retro Geeks, thankful for his family. Blue Moon's obviously thankful for Mike Odyssey's channel. I can definitely tell that. Timothy Lay, that you could spend time with me. Oh, that's nice. Brian C, I'm thankful for my friends and family and the community here. You and Mike and Andre is always a good time. Thank you. Kev's Retro Gaming is thankful for Mike eating all the snacks and not sharing. J2 Blue Bayo, Bayonetta fan over there, I'm guessing. I'm thankful that we have so many games to play. Jam Marcy, and they're thankful for finding Mike Odyssey's channel. That's cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys found his channel as well. He is a very genuine human being. Charles Trudell says, having the possibility to go to my family's friend's city 2 times since the pandemic is calm again. Yeah, I think that's a lot of things. A lot of people this year are probably going to be thankful for just seeing friends and family again, like in person. Having
Yeah.
Hope 5's the
Like
same here.
we've kind of moved past most of the pandemic. Like
Mhm.
most people can live relatively normal lives.
Yep. Not that COVID's gone away, but that the immunity and the strains have gotten to a point that it's not considered a major threat compared to, the cold and the flu
Right.
and other things that we have. We have ways to treat it now and stuff. So,
Although I did find out I had a few family members that got COVID recently. Someone was hospitalized.
yeah.
So
Did they have?
you know,
Did they get treated and everything's okay?
they're alive.
Well, it's
I
personal.
think
I
they're gonna
guess
be
I
fine.
don't want to go
But
too personal.
they were definitely going through a rough patch.
A rough patch, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's still a very real thing, but most people can go out and live a pretty normal life.
Joystick J says, thankful for a lot this year for gaming. Thankful we stuck together through the dry months. Sam West, I'm thankful for finding this Ninty Prime guy and watching his great videos. I'm thankful for being very lucky to turn Prime Gaming Fest. Yeah, Sam West, you won a lot. I know it hasn't arrived yet, but you've won a lot. I got a pile of Sam West gifts over here. Literally, because I was trying to find a box to fit them all in earlier today as I was going through and trying to get stuff packed up. Having Hope 5, thankful for your boyfriend and family, especially Zelda and Xenoblade. All right. All right. Let's see here. Where do I put all these gifts? Oh, dude, there's a lot of gifts out there. A lot of them. All right. I think that's gonna do it for today's show. Thank you guys for joining episode 77 of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. Even the haters, thank you for being here. Always appreciate it. Thanks for the click and view. I gotta feed into my ego. Gotta feed into my ego. gotta feed into my ego. Nah. The funny thing about when people think I'm so full of myself is how little they really know me. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. Again, people think this is an ego thing. I have depression. When I get off camera, this smile vanishes. There's a bit of acting that goes on with this
when you're
YouTube
on camera,
gig.
it's a performance.
Yeah. When you're on camera, you got to project. I want to project, I guess, positivity or like something,
Sure.
something forward that'll make people's days better. You know what I mean?
It also doesn't mean you're being disingenuous. I think it's just you're pulling from the positivity you do have.
Sure.
When you're on camera.
Yeah.
But you can only maintain that for so long.
Yeah. Once the camera's off, man, dude, I'm stressed as hell. I got lots of things going on, things I don't talk about. But yeah. And I think everybody does, to be fair. A lot of us put on our facades to get through work, get through family functions, get through things.
I was stressed before I was laid off, dude.
Yeah.
That was rough for me, man.
I bet.
Like, it was even though getting laid off would suck. Like, I was working 60+ hour weeks. Doesn't count YouTube stuff. Doesn't count sleeping, eating, taking care of my pet, helping out family, like all the other things. Like, only to just be laid off anyway. And I actually did perform well. Just for the record, this is where the economy's at right now. There's no other hope, pretty much. It's crazy. Point is, I'm grateful now that like I can de-stress and just kind of focus on me for a little while.
That's good, man. That's good. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. You guys have a good rest of your evening. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone tomorrow that is celebrating it or is already celebrating it. That's cool. I will still have some content coming out, but it's going to be a little sporadic. I will still have a live stream tomorrow night. It'll be a shorter one, probably only about an hour and a half, because I'm gonna take the rest of the evening just to kind of ponder back on the year that was, and think about some stuff that I've been putting off thinking about because I'm scared to think about it. So maybe I'll talk about it more on the podcast on the live stream tomorrow. Catch you guys later, guys. Peace.